Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about Solana because we've seen something on Solana that is actually super interesting, actually really good news, but no one's really even noticed it yet because it's kind of I guess a little bit more of like an intermediate or like an advanced topic that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to, and it is in regards to all-time highs. And so we're going to take a look at that, but before we do that, let's go on ahead, dive right in and take a look at the crypto bubbles, because what we can see is earlier in the day when we were talking about on the previous video, we could see that, it was a pretty strong pullback, but what we've seen is basically everything is kind of completely flipped around and bounced. In the past day, you can see, Sui up 20%, WIF almost 45%, Pepe 85%, MOG 46%. I mean, some major gains. Popcat 35%. A lot of tokens up massively. We can see, kind of all across the market. Again, it is mainly meme coins that kind of lead the way up, but again, that's kind of how meme coins work, right? They kind of lead the way up on the way up, and they lead the way down on the way down. So, but what we can see, even still, Bitcoin up 4%, we can see Solana up almost 8%, and this is all again just in the past 24 hours. So, things are looking really good. Looking at the Solana chart, we can see we have kind of broken over the resistance or the top that we put in kind of in early April and mid-March. And so we've broken above and kind of closed above that. We did see kind of a wick down below, but then that kind of immediately got bought up, and it looks like we're on the way up, continuing. Now, looking on the daily chart, we can see that we do kind of remain in overbought territory. So this is something where we could potentially see a little bit of a correction, but again, not the end of the world, especially if we do just kind of consolidate, particularly on this line of support, because we have broken it. If we could put some volume in above this support, that would be really good news for Solana holders everywhere. And so we do have a little bit of buffer, so it does seem to be possible, just because we are just barely in the overbought territory. So there wouldn't be a whole lot needed just to kind of, even honestly, just putting some volume in and kind of stabilizing on this level of support, I think would probably pull us further back into the RSI range. So definitely something to pay attention to. Things are looking unbelievably bullish for Solana right now. And one thing that we can see looking at the chart is, and we've talked about this a couple times before on the channel, but even when Bitcoin was kind of in a descending channel, Solana kind of held. We can see, kind of pulled back a little bit from the local highs here, but it kind of ranged anywhere between like the 125 to like the 188 range. So pretty good overall. Solana really has been rock solid this cycle, and so Solana is not one that I would be planning on betting against at all. I am actually considering opening up kind of like a low leverage long trade on Solana, particularly depending on kind of what we see here. If we do start to put in some volume at this level of support, I would probably put in a low leverage long trade. The reason why I like doing low leverage long trading is because generally, especially since we're in a point of being in a bull market, we can expect to see prices go up kind of more than they go down. And as long as you have kind of a really nice buffer set in terms of like where I'm talking like 3x, 5x, something like that, generally the price will not be able to go, or will likely not go low enough to the point at which you would get liquidated. Now, again, I wouldn't put everything in on a leverage trade, but it's a way to essentially make your money kind of work harder for you. But again, you go too high in leverage, and that can kind of backfire. Low leverage long trading is something that I do like to do, particularly in markets like this, just because it can help you like maximize your money and make more work for you. Think about it as kind of like buying a house, right? When you buy a house, you're essentially gaining control of the full asset. This works more for like real estate investment properties, but you're gaining control of the full asset for potentially anywhere between 10 to 20% down. So you are essentially making your money work for you anywhere at 5 to 10 times what it normally would be otherwise if you were to be paying for it in cash. And so this is generally what I look at like low leverage trading doing, is something very similar. Obviously, you're low enough that your downside is protected at least somewhat, but you're not necessarily like, if you're doing this in like a bear market or even just a sideways choppy market, it can be a lot more challenging or difficult. And that's why you go so low on leverage, because it can protect you from that. So anyway, if that is something you're interested in doing, or you want to kind of try out even just general like spot trading, feel free to use BTCC and use my link in the description below. BTCC is doing a 10% deposit match with this special promotion that they're running with me for this month. So if you were to deposit, let's say $100,000, I know that may be a lot for most of you, but there are whales who trade, here and there and now and again. But if you were to deposit $100,000, you would get essentially a $10,000 match for free, basically. So definitely a really good deal. Would encourage that you check it out if you are looking to be trading anyway. It's kind of like free money. Also, they do have up to $10,055 of like essentially like bonuses that you can earn when you're trading and signed up and all that type of stuff. So if that is something you are interested in, feel free to check that out. It definitely is a great deal, and it does only run through the end of November. So anyway, link in the description below. Feel free to check it out if you want. Now, moving on, what I wanted to look into is two things in particular. So the first one is talking about Solana and how we have actually hit new all-time highs, but people just don't even realize it yet, right? And then the second one I want to talk about is price prediction for kind of what we could see in this bull run. So first off, what we can see is you might be like, Kate, I think you might be a little crazy, right? Like, we can very clearly see that price was $259 in November 6th of 2021. That is the all-time high of Solana. And yes, you would be right from a price perspective, right? But something that a lot of people, particularly who are new to crypto, don't understand is that market cap matters, right? And so if we look at market cap, what we can see is at that same point in 2021, the market cap did only hit 77 billion, and we are currently over 100 billion right now. So we have in fact hit new all-time highs. And this is important because this does see more liquidity flowing into Solana, the Solana ecosystem, all of that type of stuff. We can see that the total market cap of crypto generally is over 3 trillion at this point. And so this is just an kind of attribution of all of the money that is continuing to flow into Solana. And so even though we may not have broken all-time highs in terms of price is concerned, Solana is definitely healthier than it's ever been. I mean, up on previous all-time highs by almost 30% at this point. So things looking really, really good. Now, this brings the next question of like, well, what could we see from Solana, right? And at this point, I would say that there's a very, very compelling argument. And a lot of people that I see talking, there's a very compelling argument. Okay, well, which is it, right? Is it Ethereum or Solana? Well, the only issue with that argument, or I guess possible upside with that argument currently, is if you're an Ethereum holder, you're sitting at almost 4 times the market cap that Solana is. And we're essentially treating them as if they're comparable equivalents right now. And so if that's the case, I mean, that essentially stands to reason that Solana, even just as is, could go up 3 to 4x just to kind of catch up with Ethereum at what its price is currently. Now, if we look at the all-time high market cap of Ethereum, we can see in 2021 that it did actually hit, I think it was 577 billion. Yeah, something very close to that. It looks like 560 is all we're seeing here. But again, that's like 5.6x from where we're sitting currently for Solana. And so this is something that I definitely think you should keep an eye out for, is because since there is so much, I think, just general market acceptance that it's kind of Solana or Ethereum is kind of like which is the second to Bitcoin at this point, that's massively bullish for Solana. And so I do think we could realistically see almost certainly a run up to that 388 billion range. But I think there's even a really strong argument to be made for the 560, 570 billion range, because Ethereum has seen that before. Now, the other thing that is important to note with Solana as well is we're much more closer to the fully diluted valuation than we were last cycle. So this is going to be really good, because as we kind of pull out of this cycle and go into the bear market, there's going to be less like innate selling pressure from token unlocks, which is going to do much better for the price than what we saw last cycle. Because obviously we saw a top at about 260 and then a bottom, I believe, at like less than $10 at like less than $10 at like the pico bottom of the market. And so I don't think we will see something similar to this next cycle, just because we have so much more of like the market cap already liquid. And so it will kind of help kind of buoy that price, because the people who want to sell will probably be able to do that, and have done that already. And so that's also something really important to note. Hopefully this information was useful. Like I said, some of the like price versus market cap nuances, particularly with these coins that are heavily VC funded and don't have their full circulating market cap, this is something that most people don't really understand or don't really take note of. And it is very, very important to like understand the market dynamics of how these coins move. Part of the reason, for example, that we've seen SUI move so dramatically this cycle is because only 27% of their tokens are circulating in the market. So obviously, great for price appreciation, but really, really bad when the bear market comes around. So this is something that I'm always trying to kind of point out and educate people on. as they're finding like my videos and coming across like what I talk about for the first time, because this is something that I rarely see being spoken about, and it's very, very important. So hopefully if this is new to you, please do like leave me a comment, let me know, and if it was helpful, I'd love to hear that as well. Also, if you have found the information in this video useful, please do give me a like and subscribe. It really, really does help me out. It helps me get pushed further into the YouTube algorithm and find more watchers who are hopefully interested in the content that I'm providing. So if you would do that, that'd really, really help me out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of them. So if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do so. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.